So this is where I usually hide when I'm about to have a mommy meltdown, and I want to use oils to help with my emotions. And I want to tell you a little bit about the art and the science. I'll tell you before that super quick about December deals. If you looked at the picture, you can get frankincense, which we call the king of oils, for free with any 200 PV purchase. And if you do that with your loyalty order, you can also get a free balsam fir and a really cute little diffuser ornament. And that has to be placed by the 15th to get the free fir and the ornament. But frankincense is while supplies last, hopefully for the whole month of December. I wanted to talk to you about when we're in the season of a lot of expectations, a lot of emotions. I have one kiddo that just really struggles with holidays because of all the high emotions. But maybe he learned it a little bit from mommy, who is a very emotionally wired one herself. And I'll talk to you a little bit super fast. It's a whole class, but just to give you a brief intro about the science and art of emotions and essential oils. If you look at your hand, you know, you've got 5 senses, you've got 5 digits on your hand. Your taste, touch, sight, and hearing are in one category. Those impulses go to the front of your brain, which is logical processing, then the back of your brain, your amygdala, which is your emotional response. So, for example, you could taste something salty and say, oh, black and white information, that tastes salty. Then you have an emotional response. I love salty or I hate salty. Your smell is your odd man out. It skips logical processing and it goes straight to the back of your brain. So it's stimulating your emotional response about whatever it may be. So you can have, a smell is also very connected to memory. You know, how many of you have smelled something and you're immediately years backwards thinking about a memory that's attached to that smell. So we can use that to help kind of get the rat off the hamster wheel in our brains when we're just spinning and spinning, especially in the season with, like I said, so much emotion, so much expectation. Sometimes it's so much better than we could possibly imagine, but sometimes because our expectations are so high, when the reality comes in a little bit lower, like happened to me yesterday, I just have to get out of that mental funk. So I'm going to start with frankincense, since this is what we're talking about. There is a whole science on what oils to use, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to give you a super fast overview. The first is that we're just going to stop and connect. There's a 4-step process. The first is to connect. How am I? And I'm just breathing in an oil. A grounding oil is usually a good one to start with. But anything that you feel like really sticks out to you, you can also start with that. So I'm breathing in a grounding oil and I'm just connecting. What am I feeling in my body? What kind of emotions are there? How did they get there? And I'm just connecting, okay, to what's going on. No judgment here. I'm just making an observation. And then I'll grab another oil, maybe a floral oil, maybe something that I really enjoy. And I'm giving my brain, if you want to look at the science of it, I'm giving my brain new stimuli to process. Especially when you get stuck in a, like yesterday, I just got stuck in a, this isn't how it's supposed to be, and I wanted it to be different. And it was really just about how my kids were responding to holiday events, and some of them were loving it and one of them was not loving it. And I was just, man, this isn't how it's supposed to be, you know? And my son's had some neurological challenges, so this is not a new part of my story, but it was just one that threw me off yesterday. So I am breathing in, okay, connect. Once I've connected or identified what's going on, I want to make a trade. And I'm praying through all this. I feel like the Lord loves to speak to us and he's looking for every opportunity for us to turn our hearts and our attention to him. So I'm praying, okay, well, I have this disappointment. How can I make a trade? If I give you, Lord, this disappointment, or if I release this feeling of anger, or if I let go of the disappointment, what do I want to take a hold of instead? And so I am praying for more magical moments, and I'm also holding those with an open hand. And I maybe am using 2 or 3 oils here. You don't need a whole lot. You can use as many as you want. This is the art part of it. But what I am doing scientifically is I'm giving my brain new information to process. I'm connecting smell and emotion. And sometimes that smell will trigger an emotion or a memory that I thought it was long gone. So there's a little bit about that. If you want a textbook to read, with a little bit more breakdown. You can't read backwards probably, but this is called Essential Emotions. It's by Daniel McDonald, but you can find it on Amazon or Aroma Tools or oillife.com. And this has a little bit of an intro, but a lot of it just will pick an oil and say, hey, this oil has these properties emotionally. I remember one time I was frustrated with myself because I was just being so snacky. I was just eating everything I could find. And I grabbed some oils and was like, why am I being like having no willpower here? Willpower is so overrated. But anyway, and I just was very drawn to basil as an oil. And I started smelling it and I immediately remembered, oh, basil is good for your adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are what produce cortisol, fight or flight hormone. I'm not having lack of willpower. I'm just tired. I need to support my sleep better. And I'm hungry because I need carbohydrates to keep functioning, right? And so that was a big aha moment. So I hope that's helpful. Please feel free to message me with any questions, experiences. I'd love to hear your story. Merry Christmas, and hopefully we won't be hiding out in the bathroom too often, having some need for emotions, and we can treasure the time that we have. But if we need to take a mommy moment or a daddy moment or a recovery moment, I hope those tools are helpful. Merry Christmas.